What's going on, everyone? This is Daniel with HM Fence. Just kind of wanted to share a little bit about how we build chain link fence that separates us from average. Nobody wants to be average, right? So here's a little bit. One thing is that when we use black vinyl coated chain link, we do 8 gauge, right? So typically residential will get a 9 gauge. The lower the gauge, the thicker the wire, right? The reason we do 8 gauge is because what's inside the vinyl coating is the actual gauge, the actual thickness of the chain link, right? So we want it to be thick enough to where it's sturdy and you can tighten it and make sure that it withholds, especially something like this. This here is for dogs, large dogs, and they will be pushing on this fence and barking and seeing this beautiful property. I'm guessing they'll have deer and wildlife. They're going to be jumping on this fence, and what we don't want is every time they jump on it for that fence to end up pushed out or not resist or not hold, right? The next thing is our post. So these are 20 weight, 2-inch in diameter posts, which is a step up from average. Average is 1 5/8. Thickness would be 0.065. That's average. 20 weight is one step up from 0.65. That is to make sure that your fence is sturdy, right? Sturdy. Your posts hold. Make sure, like I said, anything bumps up against it, that it resists more than your typical average residential fence. Posts are really the most important part of your fence. So the tougher your posts are, the better your fence, the foundation of your fence, right? Next thing is our top rail. Top rail, this is 1 5/8 in diameter. Standard is 1 3/8 for residential. We'll get into 1 5/8 for commercial. But so we use the 1 5/8 in 0.65. So it's a step up from the 1 3/8. I find it more appealing, more matching. On top of it being more sturdy, of course. You get your ties get on there a whole lot better than 1 3/8. These ties are normal. These are the shortest ties you'll find. And they just hug that top rail so much better when it's 1 5/8 versus 1 3/8. You don't have this huge tail on it that you either have to cut off or bend over and make sure that it's not sticking out, right? So 1 5/8 makes these ties go on so much smoother, so much nicer. And last thing, well, our terminals versus the line post will be 2 3/8, also 20 weight. Our foundations are 10-inch holes, 2 foot deep for residential. But lastly will be your tension wire, and this is something that gets overlooked a lot. So usually you'll get 9 gauge tension wire down here, which is something that you can probably snap, with a decently strong person. The reason we have bottom tension wire is for that push, right? So it will hold that push more against anything that pushes on it on the bottom, since there's no top rail, right? So we put this 7 gauge. We use 7 gauge, same deal. Since it's vinyl coated, you want the thicker stuff, so you have thicker wire on the inside versus thinner wire on the inside. So we use 7 gauge and we use 9 gauge steel hog rings to hog ring it to your fence. That way any push on that, especially like I said for dogs tend to push on the bottom, try to find their way out. Not all dogs. Your dogs may be unicorns and maybe the best behaved dogs in the world. I know my dogs get to pushing and they need to have something that holds against that. So we use the 7 gauge tension wire, 9 gauge aluminum ties, 2-inch 20 weight line post, 1 5/8, 065 top rail, and 8 gauge mesh. This is the best stuff you'll find for a residential fence, for something like dogs, something like keeping your kids safe from either people or animals or whatever you need to keep your family safe from. But yeah, that's a little bit about how we do things. And this is standard. So this is what you'll get. Now we've put in the other stuff before, which is why we have decided to upgrade and make sure that you're getting the best value for your money. So we've installed the other stuff before. We've done it over the years. We've kind of upgraded slowly, perfected our methods, and here's what we come up with. And we may upgrade later if we find something that works better for our customers and delivers better value. But this is a little bit about our chain link. So 4 foot, 5 foot, 6 foot will get this same setup. Stay safe, guys.